then have discussions on information power, how information gets disseminated, internet access, and all that sort of thing. So that could be an interesting area. You know, the next steps would be, I think the critical next step is developing a website. You know, the website will contain, on the website, sign up to teach a class, sign up. I don't know if we need to limit the number of people that show up. I don't know how big this will be. You know, it's in November. The space is similarly, it's similar to this space, and I think we have about 100 shares we can set up. It's a similar configuration as this room.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. Where is this thing?
It's, oh, sorry, I should have said the Abrams Art Center is on Grand Street. A lot of people know the donut plant. Just people know the donut plant. It's one more block east, but on the north side of the street. And it's part of the Henry Street settlement, who have a number of different buildings down there. And it's sort of a 70s building. There's a more traditional playhouse. I think it's called the Henry Street Playhouse. I think on the corner and just next to it there's sort of an amphitheater looking. There are stairs outside, an outdoor space, and then the building is kind of recessed up the stairs in black, back and rounded windows, and it's sort of that big space upstairs, and there's a smaller space downstairs. And there might be some classrooms we could also have. But I think running one class at a time, just to keep it simple. And we have it, you know, weekends, there'll be a broader, you know, weekends, people who work traditional hours, Monday through Friday, can on weekends. It's open till 10 o'clock at night, the space, so we could have evening things. Weekday days, the Henry Street Settlement, which operates the Abrams Art Center, has a lot of programming already with young people in the neighborhood. After-school programs with schools. So we could get a lot of younger people and who are in the public school system, which again typically doesn't have art anymore. And so there could be programming for adults, for young people. It could be really broad-reaching. And just for the sake of PR, because it's whatever you do, this is really an activist thing that I'm doing, or that we're doing. It's always good to get a little bit of press. And so for that reason only, I want to get a few brand name famous artists. So Lawrence Weiner has already agreed to teach a class on language and art, which he's sort of master of. And I want to have a few artworks in the space. So I think he's going to do one wall, come up with a phrase that has to do with free education. And you know, we might decide to sell it or donate the proceeds to Cooper Union. He's a very well established artist. And Thomas Hirschhorn, I work at DIA part-time, and he's doing a big project called the Gramsci Monument. You should all go to it. It's a space that he's taken over in the middle of a housing project in the Bronx. And it's a 10-week program. Every day there are lectures and talks, and each week there's a rotating philosopher and a rotating poet in residence. It starts on, it's all of July, all of August, and the first 2 weeks of September. Gramsci. Gramsci he started the Communist Party in Italy, and he was a philosopher. And it's in honor of him. It's the 4th monument that Thomas Hirschhorn, he's a Swiss artist, has done. He did one for, each one was for a different philosopher, and it was in a different city, and always in a public housing project.
You said that's part of DIA?
And DIA is funding this. So DIA does pretty cool. So he's hopefully going to, I mean, if he can come back in November, he wants to teach something, but it's, you know, it's, what he's doing there is a little bit of what I'd like to see happen at the Abrams Art Center. So next steps, sort of, so to prepare it, really, if there's a website, you know, and I don't know what we're going to call it, because we can't call it the Lillian Wall Free School. So we'll come up with a name. It might just be the Free School, but it's better if it has a name because it's for lots of free schools out there. And once we have the website, you can then, it begins to be tangible. People can start, a lot of people say, oh yeah, I'll do a class, but until they actually write it down and it's on the website, people are flaky, people are busy, and it's nice to have it tangible. And then create some branding, visual identity around it, I think is important. Get social media, get a Facebook page for it, tweet about it, whatever. I'm 50, so I'm past the age of being great at social media. It just wasn't part of my, I still write letters to people once in a while. So, develop a curriculum, but it doesn't have to be formal. It can just be, if someone wants to teach a class about something that might sound stupid or, just fun, that's great. It should be fun.
Who would we contact to volunteer?
Pardon?
Who would we contact to volunteer?
To teach or to do all this stuff?
To teach, to do a seminar?
Anybody who wants to do it. I guess
He's
there
saying,
should
can
be.
he contact you?
Who
Can he
have I
contact you? No,
contacted?
can he contact you?
Yeah. We
Contact me.
Yeah.
At the last page is my name. I'll give you, I have a card actually. I made this good card today. And then as far as the library, get books donated. I'd like to get internet access donated. I think they have it already. Get some terminals. We always have to be aware. The space doesn't lock down. And a lot of people come and go to the building for performances. So I don't want to have laptops or tablets because they're easy. When we ran Occupy Sandy, we had sign-ups. So everything that could be stolen got stolen. So
You had a what?
when we did Occupy Sandy, like everything at the sign-up desk that could get stolen did get stolen. So tablets and laptops are a bad idea in a public space. It's almost better to screw down the old school terminal. That's just like and then I'd like to get JSTOR and some other organizations that charge for access to information to donate it. But there are plenty of free sites. I have to be careful of I don't mind pushing the envelope, but I'd hate to get the whole thing shut down because we hack into something. Someone told me yesterday about a website called ARG. Yeah, and every time it gets shut down, they add another A to it, and it's basically just a lot of reports and data, good stuff. There's Yubu Web, that's really a fun website for video stuff. And then more logistics closer to the date. So I have an artist residency. A lot of the art, I do a lot of things, but the art stuff that I do is, I'm right now doing a project where I'm trying to map the art world, so to speak, or map. I'm interested in systems, and so I started a project where I'm trying to map art systems, and I've been invited to Austria for a month of June, meeting tomorrow, to map out the art world of Austria, and then I'm going to extend it to the EU and sort of collectors, commercial galleries, nonprofit galleries, the education system, the government system, and then how they interrelate or not, and sort of try to create a three-dimensional model of the systems. And I'd like to do the same thing for New York City, the U.S. Then, of course, there's this emerging global system where universities have often partners in other countries. You have like the Basel Art Fair conglomerate now. Hong Kong is one, Switzerland is one, Miami. There's like all the stuff. So I'll be away, but I'm easily accessed by email. And I'm actually flying via Istanbul because it was the cheapest way to get a flight. So I'll probably end up hanging out there for a few days on the way back. We'll see how things are going there, but in solidarity with their revolution. Who knows, a month from now there could be a new government, hopefully. Hopefully it's not too bloody. Seriously, it's getting really ugly. Over this weekend, lots happened. Shooting rubber bullets at the protesters. They're locking them in the subway and throwing tear gas canisters into the subway. The riot police, they were really heavy-handed. And already apparently the military is turned against the riot police in support of the protesters. So there really could be a revolution as quickly as that's a side thing. So what are some, anybody have any thoughts about this? Or?
Well, mostly it's how can we help you? I mean, knowing that we're limited in resources and we have kind of our own free schools.
Right. Well, you know, I don't know what, I mean, I don't know, are you in the graduating class or are you still a
Yeah.
student?
Just graduated.
So, you or are you?
Current.
Current. Yeah, I mean, A, putting the word out would be really useful. B, just knowing about it, talking about it. If you want to teach a class, that'd be great. If you want to, closer to the date, be one of the sort of organizers there. I don't know. I'm hoping this becomes sort of a pretty big phenomenon. It's written about, and you know, if the month-long thing, and I've applied for some funding. My dream was to raise enough money where everyone who volunteers does a volunteer they get paid an hourly wage. So I could actually, the free school could actually employ its staff. Like part of one of the Occupy groups that I'm involved with has this push to get people to pay for their interns, not expect really, stay, which is such this is currently part of the in this country, it's the expected. In Europe, you would imagine expecting interns to work for free. I think it's illegal in most countries, but in this country, it's considered normal. Even like Larry Bogosian, who has a private jet, expects people to work for free. It's so unethical, but that's another topic.
Would you consider like hiring people? I mean, maybe not for pay, but like to handle the social media things.
Right now, when I get back from this trip, I've applied for some funding. None has come through yet. I think I'll probably get $10,000 from the Rauschenberg Foundation, but that was a very specific grant. It turns out that during the month of November, the Rauschenberg Foundation has funded Ballroom Marfa, which is a nonprofit in Texas, to do a month-long series of actions and activities around climate change. And one of the groups that will be a constant presence at the free school will be the Occupy Wall Street Screen Printers Co-op.
Mm-hmm.
And they screen printed, for example, this backpack. So they absorb, anybody can come in with clothing and things and they'll do screen.
I was just asking because I've really seen how like this group of people, like their use of social media has totally like fueled our occupation.
Oh, for sure.
And
It's
so,
really good.
like the people that I've seen working on social media are like the best I've ever seen
Yeah.
working in social media. So like maybe collaborating with us so we
Yeah.
can help you to
Yeah.
really like put your thing on the map.
Sure, for sure.
Do you talk to the people who do Trade School NYC?
I've heard about them.
She's a Cooper alumni also, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Caroline Woolard. And so she does Trade School NYC and Solidarity NYC and Our Goods. So it's like, theirs is not so much about like paying people, but it's about like barter economy. So like, the teachers come in and look for, like they say like, I'm gonna teach this class, these are the things that I would accept in exchange for this class. $5, a CD, a thank you note,
Oh, that's really cool.
5 oranges. These are the things, or trading skills. But they have a whole online back end for like how to announce their classes and
It's called Trade School?
Trade School NYC, and also Our Goods. Our Goods is like the barter, kind of Craigslist bartering, and then Trade School NYC is the, and her name is Caroline Woolard. I can put you in contact with her. But I think there's a number of different groups that are doing because there's not necessarily like a free school, but it's the ethos of it. But they also have already a website and like a platform for it, and it's like you know, our free schools have always been a little bit too short to incorporate that back end. But if you know you have like a month and you have time to set it up, it's a good way. It's very clean the way they do it.
The way that I was sort of thinking about it is that it goes sort of back to it's reimagining our social contract and starting small and basically, you know, it's more the mutual aid model which we have at Occupy. So basically, you know, and it's I guess it was part of the socialist mentality that you know give what you have and take what you need sort of thing. So you know, people who teach classes also take classes. And it's just this, or offer whatever services they have. And all the courses, all the classes are open to anybody who wants to take them. And it's and you know, contribute the skills you have and you take and you learn new skills. So it's really it's like a big skill sharing pond. You know, it's the way, it's sort of the way Wikipedia works, I guess. I mean, people get free information, but you're also enabled to, or empowered to add to it, add to the body of knowledge that exists there, edit the document, and add new information. So it's more this free. I mean, no one's counting. No one's like you get 5 credits because you gave that, and so you can take 5 credits out of the goods. It's sort of more the honor system, so to speak. So that's sort of where it's at this stage.
Do you know about Bruce High Quality Foundation University?
I know about them a little bit. And didn't they go to Cooper?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never. I mean, I read about it, and I guess they got some funding from Creative Time to do it. And I never attended any of their things, but I was aware of it, and they're traveling. But I should probably contact them.
Yeah, they have a space now. It's like down the street
Oh, really?
where they've been holding classes. I took one in spring, and it was good. I mean, they're in some of the same waters that you are. I think it might be good. Might be good to chat with them.
That's a good idea.
What's the name of that? Bruce High Quality Foundation.
Bruce High Quality Foundation. They're an artist collective that went here, and they make art as well. And I actually think I have a print that they made.
Yeah, they've got a good thing going on. I mean, talking to them could be good. They like reimagine the school every time. It's always
Well, that's really cool.
fresh and interesting. But it's like it seems like they're sharing some brain waves. So maybe getting together might be beneficial, or you could like cross.
Yeah, sure.
So
Is it an ongoing thing, or do they sort of run it and then it stops, and they run it and it stops?
they have I think it's spring and fall semester, and in the fall, at least the last time they did it, in the fall they had a class like called curriculum, where all the teachers for next year develop their classes together, and then so in the spring they enacted them. But it's really cool. It's a good thing they're doing.
And is it a fee-based model, or is it a free
No,
school?
classes are free.
And is it open enrollment, or is it you have to be accepted?
You I think there's a certain amount of space, so you have to sign up. I don't think it's not like an admissions. It's just like first come, first serve. We have so many seats to offer for this course. But yeah, they finally. I think they were sort of roping for a while. They have a space now.
Oh, cool.
It's kind of helps anchor.
Do you know how to get in touch with them?
Off the top of my head, but they have a website.
Okay.
For sure.
That's a good reminder, because I knew about them, but I hadn't thought about it.
Yeah, they're doing well. I think the class was cool.
What was the class you took?
It was like math. It was called Mathway, and it was about. It was a math class, but it was also about deprogramming all the prejudices that we've come to have against math from the way it's taught in our schools, and then
Make math fun.
it's a yeah, in a way, or just like, yeah, not like oppressive or whatever, and then just have it kind of approaching it from a different place on like a historical model. But it was cool, you know. It was a good teacher, the class was well thought out, really interesting.
I like the curriculum to range broadly. Like if someone wants to teach a class like that, great. But I also want it to have some really practically useful things. So it's not. I don't want it just to be a performance that there's a preschool. But and like I spoke to the guy who's in charge of our funding the Ford Foundation, and I said he spoke at the Aspen Institute. He moderated the talk, and it was the founder of Kickstarter and the founder of something else, and they just talked about new models for artists to get funded. And so, and the Kickstarter guy was actually really interesting, and then the Ford Foundation guy represented the old model of foundations funding things, although I don't think they fund individual artists, I think they only fund institutions. And the NEA used to fund individual artists, but now they only fund institutions, and that's been the case since the 90s. So there could be talks. I mean, that could be more of a talk and a presentation in a class, but there could be interesting, presentations that relate to people that want to work in the arts.
I'm curious if there's an opportunity for exchange of information with the Occupy here. I imagine one of your issues is fundraising.
Sure.
And that you're hoping to find alternative solutions to what's been ordered from on high, and as well as the philosophical necessity of rewriting the social contract. I mean, the exchange of information, using your resources and the resources that you guys have all been working diligently on. And I don't know if fundraising is something that you are, I don't know how involved you are or want to be in that as one of the solutions. But it seems like you have a wealth of knowledge of
It would be great to get
resources.
someone to speak about fundraising in the context of education. So,
Yeah, here on Saturdays at noon, we're gonna start having conversations with all kinds of people, artists, theorists, and we would love to have more financially, like people who know more about finances and fundraising, to have everyone who would have something to add to the conversation of how to solve the issues at Cooper be in that conversation. And right now we're just starting with the kind of philosophical ideas. What is merit? How do we talk about Cooper? What are the problems at Cooper right now? What is administration, government, et cetera.
Right.
But I think part of that conversation should not only be added to by theorists and thinkers, and it should also be financial guys who can say, well, that's not really how finances work, et cetera, et cetera. So to be more pragmatic about it. So if you can bring any of the people you mentioned on Saturdays at noon and bring yourself to that conversation, I think it would be, it's really trying to revitalize the conversation at Cooper.
are you going to post that information somewhere?
We're right now we have that board, but we're gonna post the weekly board. We're gonna post it in digitalized form.
Reunion on that website?
I don't know how we're gonna do it yet.
Probably on. I don't know if our website's on the Facebook. Probably on the website or the Facebook. Probably both.
Right. But I mean, are you guys at all involved in any kind of collaborative dialogue with the current administration or the board, or are you still like trying to, squeeze your foot into the door?
Well, the thing is, they won't accept anything that we say.
Okay.
They're
They're not
incredibly
actually
arrogant.
ignoring it.
Okay.
So
So then, part of that is to just generate more public awareness and get, people to, really understand the issues with the bullet points of what it is that you'd like to see that could be achieved,
Well, right now we're trying to create a kind of like a de facto administration in a parallel way of thinking about Cooper Union, because the way that, well, not even parallel, diverging one, but that one that stems from the vision.
Right, the original spirit.
So, but to do that, like this effort that you see, like this show that you see right now is the stage. It's kind of like the material version of what we've been thinking about for the last, year or so.
Right.
And this is now the stage onto which we start bringing in people who talk about these things. So
Yeah.
we opened the doors, we created this stage, and now we need to have this conversation and have people from the outside and the inside.
I'd like to offer to try to get people from some of these really big foundations.
Like,
Most foundations, one of the biggest things they fund is education. So we talked to the Rockefeller Foundation, the Ford Foundation, those are the really big old school ones. And then there are newer ones like the Gates Foundation. They will have a program director specifically for education, and they'll usually fund projects, not they'll fund like improving the school system in whatever Alabama or some really poor place, but to get them in to speak and to talk about it, like put a little panel together, to get the person, to get the development director of the best funded university is Princeton. Well, Princeton, Yale, and Harvard. I think Harvard is the biggest endowment. But to get them, it's even a corporation. It's the Harvard Corporation that is an office in downtown Boston that just manages the money of the endowment, and it's a staff of like 50 people. All they do is they invest the money in Harvard's money. So to get someone, maybe that would be overkill, but to get a well-funded university's money person here to talk.
Well, one of the points that came up in the last conversation was to have a competing capital campaign against the capital campaign that they actually don't have a campaign because they don't have a vision for Cooper Union. So it's to actually compete with them in raising
You wanna give me
funds
your
for
names?
Cooper and show them that their model is actually.
Well, Yuri told me about that a year ago. They were going to do an auction, and they even had it lined up, and the administration wouldn't let them go forward.
Really?
That
I
happened.
was talking with friends about having an
That
option.
was all
All
planned.
the
They
alumni.
would-
They had it planned.
They wouldn't sign off on it.
They already had artwork donated.
They wanted the money to be contingent in school and sign off on it.
And
And
it
so
was-
they lost the auction house.
Oh,
Phillips, it was going to be Phillips. They
Phillips
agreed to
auction
do it.
house. They said no. They
it's
literally said
ludicrous.
It's.
Yeah, no, they're like really.
No, I was saying to someone earlier. I spent 20 years working in investment management. I worked for a firm called Sanford Bernstein and Merrill Lynch, and I worked for the Swedish state pension system. But when I worked those first two jobs, I worked a lot with. I only worked with institutional investors, to help them invest in, and quite a few of them were endowments and foundations. And so I think it was a year and a half ago, the first big meeting we had in the Great Hall, and like Ben Deegan gave the opening remarks, and it was very emotional and really nice. And he went here, his father went here, his grandfather went here, and he teaches here at Roy. And I came, and they asked me to sort of have a look at things and give my opinion, having given my prior profession. And it was so clear to me that this wasn't just bad decision making. I'm going to guess there was criminal activity. And Mark Epstein, and I went up to him. He happened to show up. A few trustees came and sat in the back, and then they came to Ben's apartment after Ben's apartment. And I give him credit for that. That he was with it. He actually showed up. And I said, listen, I know this business very well, and I'm now, I now work in the arts. And the best thing you can do as chairman of the board is to resign, because no one in their right mind is going to write a check to this place with you still at the helm. Because you presided over this place during prior administration, you're presiding over it now, and there's any sane person would have no confidence in you. And you come from the real estate world, and there are all these ill-advised real estate transactions, and I said it to his face. And I said it, at best, you make bad decisions, at worst, there might be some criminal activity that we'll figure out later.
Yeah, because
I
honestly,
said it right to him. I said it
under-
this close to him.
The worst thing that can happen in Cooper Union right now is to have a big donor give money during this administration. The reason why
They
is
wouldn't
because
do it.
they would turn it into like
Oh,
some
the big
design institute or some bullshit thing that it has nothing to do with.
Well, I think that's the other issue, looking at, I mean, I grew up on Long Island, and one student every year got to go to Cooper from my high school. There was sort of an understanding that we always got one spot here. And, it, it was always like, it was the biggest thing. We got into Cooper this year. It's more important than any other, the kid who got into Harvard. The one who got into Cooper is so cool. And the fact that it's gone, that is gone, this. I think your new president, Mark Epstein, wanted this to compete with Yale Art School, and that's not the point. That is absolutely not the point. They got caught up in that whole 1990s Glamorama thing, bullshit. This should compete with the Memory of Black Mountain College, not with Yale. That's an admirable.
Yeah.
But I think that's sort of that was always the idea.
In terms of art, Yale can't even touch it. If you go to the print shop, it's like a bunch of tables. There's nothing there. It's like really.
You have a great museum,
Yeah.
but there you go.
All their money is just for faculty. The faculty that they have is really great, but so do we. I mean, we have great faculty here. So.
And the faculty at Yale, when I talked, one of the big weaknesses of European education is that you get the star faculty. Like Chris Williams says that Düsseldorf competitive, that means he goes there one day a month. They don't actually do the teaching. It's really an honorary thing. Whereas here, people teach.
It's kind of like having a government job.
Right. Sort of, where you window dress with a few big names, but they don't really do the work. We don't done the presentation. But I'll create a little
Thread.
email thread thing. And also I want to, any of you who are interested, you're very welcome to join any of our meetings at Occupy Museums. And I've just myself gotten a little bit involved in Occupy Art and Labor. There's sort of two different groups that do different things. The next big project that Occupy Museums is doing is called Debt Fair. We set up a website, debtfair.org. And basically it's going to be an experimental kind of an art fair, not really, where instead of selling your work for money, the buyer pays down part of your debt, student debt, credit card debt.
We should have a web writing website or something.
Pardon?
That's like a 90-second web writing, but really having like a way to like easily be informed about all these different.
Yeah, I agree.
Because right now it's like
It's
hearsay,
just word of mouth,
like, really.
It's word of mouth. There's so many things, but you have to
But
heard
to
about it.
compile them, like one resource,
Yeah, no, I agree. Having a resource page.
Yeah, because it's like people talk about free education and free information, and there isn't any clear information about where the free information is. You know what I mean? So
It really is word of mouth. That could be a great project for the free library, is to come up with the go-to site that lists.
Yeah, because that's the basis of free information. The free exchange of knowledge. That's where you start. It's like there are thousands of grassroots organizations that are right here on the same page.
it's starting a Craigslist for free universities all over the state.
Yeah, that's a great
This
idea.
or state, and there it is all. I just go to this center and
Well, now there's a lot of free courses online. That's the big thing. And for like really nerdy things that you kind of need to know, you hate to go do, like accounting, basic accounting, so you can balance your checkbook. Like Coursera, a lot of my friends are taking, like art friends are taking the basic accounting class, bookkeeping class, just so you know how to. Artists are self-employed entrepreneurs. disrespectful. And like send out bills and receive the money back